Today we're gonna be breaking down the High Elven roster. Your Total War is here, and let's get started with the factions. So, Knights of the Caledor. They are a decent faction. However, their main feature is that they do have Imrik as their legendary lord. So, yeah, they do have a access to dragon taming, which allows you to tame the dragons, which will give you few super strong units that you can field. Then also you have a improved invocation, it's alright. And then local recruitment duration, -1 turn for dragon and dragon prince units. It's nothing super good. So the main feature of Knights of Caledor is that Imrik is super powerful lord. He has extra movement range, he is immune to mountain and desert attrition, and he is also reducing the upkeep of the dragons and dragon princes by 25%, which is massive. On top of that, he is one of the strongest duelists, the people that can go 1v1 against other single entities, and in most cases he will come out on top. So Knights of Caledor, they are not terrible, but they are definitely not in a broken tier. So they are going into carrying the campaign. Then we do have the Nagarythe, and the Nagarythe is quite interesting. However, suffers from exactly the same treatment as the Knights of Caledor, because the eliminating characters that are marked for death grant some rewards, but you can often find yourself with contracts for someone who is on the other side of the map. And by saying other side of the map, I mean entirely different continent. I have fired up a campaign just before recording it, and I had a contract for someone from Scrax faction. And for those that do not know, I am here, and I had a contract for a hero that is around here. So yeah, the mechanics of the Nagarythe are not really that great. They do have campaign movement range, which is really amazing. So thanks to this campaign movement range, he is gonna be placed higher than Caledor. And global recruitment duration -1 turn. This is quite nice to have, because all your elite units that will take 2 turns will take only 1 turn. And also unlocks the Shadow Realm army stance, the teleportation that cannot be intercepted. It is kind of a get out of the jail free card if you messed up. However, since I generally don't mess up in my campaigns in a way that I have to save my lord at all cost, I don't really value this mechanic. It's not really great in my opinion. And then Alifanar is a great legendary lord that has really good units in case of this. They are Shadow Walkers and the Shadow Warriors. The Shadow Walkers are extremely good stalking infantry, stalking missile infantry, but they are not bad at melee either. They have 40 melee attack and 32 melee defense, and Alifanar is boosting them really well. So his faction is alright. So it goes in front of the Caledor. And now we do have Alarielle's faction, the Avelorn. And the Avelorn, again, they do have some bonuses that can give you a bit more extra control, but the main bonus is because of Alarielle, not because of her faction. So Alarielle can move in between the settlements, and she will leave a decaying effect that will increase the control and the growth of each settlement that she visits. It's super powerful. She can get her cities to tier 5 super quickly. So yeah, she gains bonuses when all of Ultuan is held by High Elves. Those are not that great. Receives penalties when regions within Ultuan are not held by High Elves. Again, those are not that powerful. Influence cost 25% decrease for intrigue and court actions. So this could be good, but it isn't good because it's only for the old intrigue before the Aislinn came. So it's basically increasing the relations with the factions and stuff like that. It's not for buying a extra. It's not for the mechanic for the confederations, let's say that. And then she has better invocation of Lila, which can be good. Hero capacity +2 for Handmaidens and greater invocation of Isha. Yeah, they do kind of give her a bit of boost. But again, it's nothing like the other High Elven factions have access to. So those are kind of vanilla-like bonuses. And Alarielle, overall a really great lord that boosts you in the campaign map, and she can have a access to super powerful Sisters of Avelorn Doomstack. Like, you can Doomstack Sisters of Avelorn without Alarielle, but with Alarielle, they are even more powerful. So, Avelorn goes at the very end of the High Elven factions. So, it's Avelorn, Knights of Caledor, and the Nagarythe. And now we do have Teclis' faction, and after the overhaul that they got with the previous DLC, they are super powerful. They are super good. It's fun to play them finally, and I have reason to actually play them. I never liked Teclis, and I always felt like he is super weak in his campaign. Like, by no means Teclis is not a weak legendary lord, but his campaign felt super weak, super boring. There was nothing to it. But right now, he has a special mechanic that gives him access to multiple powerful spells, also gives him access to multiple powerful heroes and lords, which will all have a special trait. And on top of that, he has good relationship with High Elves, Wood Elves, Lizardmen, and Dwarves. And obviously with men. Why is it not capitalized here? CA. And he has allied recruitment cost reduced by 50%. Recruit rank for all Loremasters of Hoeth and mages and archmages. And here is another question. Okay, so if he has this from the start, why is his Loremaster of Hoeth starting at level 1 CA? It is way better for me to just kill off that Loremaster and recruit a new one. Recruitment cost minus 25% for Swordmasters of Hoeth and Phoenix units. This is really good. All those faction effects are super powerful. And then Lord effects, bounce spell Fireball. I am not a fan of Fireball. I don't really utilize it that much. I mean, he has it, so I will use it. But to be fair, later on in the campaign, I will find myself just forgetting that I even have the fireball. Winds of Magic Power Reserve Capacity for own army plus 10. It's alright. It's better to have more Mastery of Elemental Winds. Super powerful Lord effect. It makes all the spells have more intensity, do more damage, work better. His faction starting position is quite hard because you do have to deal with Kairos Fateweaver really early on. And then you also have Wurzak coming at you from the north. So if you enjoy a challenge, go and play Teclis. I recommend it. So his faction is super powerful, and you will have a blast utilizing the mechanics. Then we do have the High Elf Sea Patrol led by the Admiral Aislinn. So it is a DLC faction with the recent DLC, and all the recent DLC factions are super powerful. They kind of feel overtuned in many ways, but I guess it's just getting into a power creep because of the end times coming, and everything in end times just went way stronger in the lore, and there were few surprising things about the end times and his faction effects. Asur Domination has access to powerful dragon ships, so it's kind of like the Black Arcs for the Dark Elves, uh, but a bit better because, for example, his own dragon ship, it is. It still works when he goes on land and can issue provincial commandments without owning the entire province. This is good because his mechanic is about not owning settlements but giving them out to other high elf factions. Improved sea navigation. He is immune to high seas attrition. He can use sea lanes immediately. He has no movement cost when traveling between the sea and land. And there is also a ability for his faction which allows you to move over a land as if it was still moving over the sea. So if you have enough range, you can go over impossible terrain as long as you end up getting back onto the sea. And also, we do have local recruitment duration -1 for Oceanids, Sea Elementals, and Merwyrm units. This is okay, but it's nothing that important. Like, the recruitment timers are not really something that I'm looking at when evaluating a faction. So overall, all those mechanics that he has, they are helping him a lot. He's super powerful, and it's actually super hard to lose a campaign when you're playing as him. Like, you get a settlement in the middle of nowhere, so you are starting in here in the Elven colonies, and you get the first settlement, you give it to either Teclis or Imrik. Then you can take this island for yourself and give out the other settlement to whomever you chose first, so either Imrik or Teclis. And from here on, it's super hard to get any enemies to come to you because they at first they don't really even know that you're in here because you're isolated. And if you, for example, decide to go to Ultuan because you will have a decision to go to 4 different places, It's Ulti one. I think the one is to go to Lastria. Another one is to go to Cathay, and I don't remember where the fourth one is going. But in all those, the fourth one is to stay around. So in this case, you would probably be going against Kugav. Maybe you want to take out Kairos to help Teclis. So you are helping either Teclis or you're helping the Imrik if you are staying around. And the missions that you receive will be bound to the region that you decided to stay on during the dilemma. And for example, if you chose to went to Ultuan, there is absolutely no way that anyone that you're fighting in here will ever come to your homeland. So you're safe, you can make stupid plays, you can make stupid decisions, and you will still be fine. And on top of that, you can also make sure that all your friends are still surviving, because you can give them settlements, and if you gifted them a settlement, you will build a outpost inside their settlement. And as long as you have that outpost in there, you can choose to defend their settlement for them. And also you can build garrisons in those settlements, and those garrisons are quite strong. So overall, he is a super powerful faction. He has a super powerful faction. So I would be placing him in the broken tier. The Etain. The Etain is gonna be the most broken faction. The most broken faction. And I'm gonna tell you from the top of my head. Only because of the mechanics of the Elven dungeon, at which he just can print infinite amount of money. So Eltharion can print infinite amount of money as long as he follows a simple game mechanic. And yeah. Or actually, oh, I just thought of something amazing. He could go and capture Changeling, make sure that he never kills him, and since Changeling is a absolutely passive character, he will always print money for Eltharion. Yeah, that's super broken. So the dungeons of Atel Tamara, and then he can spread the mist of Ivres, cloaking Eltharion and his allies, land in defensive shroud. It's kind of like invocations for the Tomb Kings. Then he has a stronger invocation of Laradiel, which grants bonuses to armies and for regions within the Mist of Ivres. Diplomatic relations with Greenskins, but yeah, let's face it, you're not gonna be friends with Greenskins as elves anyway. And recruit rank for Spear Infantry and Ranger units. That's quite nice. Because you can get elite armies earlier on. And Lord effects, he's immune to Barren Wasteland attrition, leadership for Spear Infantry and Ranger units, melee defense for Spear Infantry and Ranger units, and attribute causes fear when fighting against Greenskins. Eltharion is quite strong legendary lord. He is not as strong as Imrik, Alifanar, or Tyrion, or Teclis, at least in my opinion. But his faction buffs are absolutely overpowered. I don't think there is a more broken faction in terms of income in the game right now. And on to the next one, the Etain. Etain got a huge overhaul recently with the DLC at which the Aislinn has came out as well. So he is a champion of Ultuan. He can use influence to carry out decisive campaign map actions and call upon special aid from High Elf alliances. So basically, he got a mechanic that Karl Franz has for his campaign, but the mechanic that Tyrion got is obviously way stronger than the one that Karl Franz uses, because I have played him for like 50 turns, and in those 50 turns I was able to confederate all High Elves, get entire Ultuan. I was able to spawn in armies, and I mean spawn them by using the Champion of Ultuan mechanics, send them against the, for example, the Dread Fleet, and eliminate them with totally upkeep free spawned in army. So yeah, it's broken, and considering those mechanics, I do find Etain as the strongest elf faction right now in the game. Just the fact that you can have 8 legendary lords, yes, 8 because I'm counting the Alastar White Lion as a legendary lord as well, because he is a legendary lord. So the fact that you can have 8 legendary lords by turn 50, and probably even sooner because I wasn't min-maxing for that, it's super broken. And then you have the extra additional influence. So if you have extra influence, you're gonna be using this Champion of Ultuan mechanic even more. And also, he is doubling the influence that he gains on Ultuan. So if he's fighting on Ultuan, he will get even more influence. So absolutely, it is super easy to confederate all other legendary lords for the High Elves. And also construction time minus 50% for Shrine of Cain building. It's not huge, but it works for his lore, and he can take the Widowmaker and become the Avatar of Cain if he wishes. So he becomes super unstoppable, super powerful melee lord. I mean, he is a super powerful melee lord regardless whether he has the Sword of Cain or not, but he can be absolutely broken if he decides to take it. And to be fair, if you wish, it could be easily mitigated for the Tyrion to have the Sword of Cain, because Alifanar has a trait that gives you +4 control in all provinces. So confederate him, confederate Alarielle, and make her run around the Ultuan, increasing control, and you will be perfectly fine for using Sword of Cain if you wish. So yeah, Etain is tied with the Illyrian. And now we do have the legendary lords. And when it comes to the legendary lords, uh, they are not all equal. So Aislinn is really strong. He has access to fun game mechanics, and he mostly has access to them only if you play as him. But overall, he will do good. He boosts the Lothern Sea Guard quite a bit, and Lothern Sea Guard, even without him, is already a doom stackable unit. And then we do have Imrik, and Imrik is a absolute beast. So even AI made Imrik can absolutely obliterate lords that you make into doom stacks, as I have discovered while sending a unkillable Grumbrindal against Imrik. I mean, it also helped him that he was not taking any collisions and the game was a bit broken in the previous patch. But regardless of that, I think he would still have won that fight. Then Eltharion. Eltharion, he has access to few fun mechanics, and he can capture captives, but he is not that powerful as a legendary lord if he doesn't have access to his game mechanics. So he is carrying the campaign. He is by no means weak, but he is not overpowered. Alarielle. Alarielle is not the strongest fighting lord, but she is absolutely broken as a statesman. So she will do wonders on the campaign map, and she also has access to really powerful Doom stack. And then we do have Alifanar, and Alifanar is absolutely powerful. He has access to the stalking stance. He can ambush basically everyone later in the campaign once he gets levels. And he can summon up to 3 shadow clones of himself that have 50% of his stats. So yeah, a really good lord. Teclis. Teclis has access to powerful magic, and he can have a multitude of winds of magic, so he can have an insane amount of winds of magic. And he is also using super powerful spells on top of that. So he is also a broken lord. Tyrion. Tyrion, I already spoke about Tyrion, and Tyrion is probably close to being on par with Imrik. So when it comes to the combat speed alone, it's Imrik, Tyrion, Alifanar, then Teclis, and Alarielle at the very back. But still, she has a powerful Doom stack. And the Alastair the White Lion, he is a bit of a gimmick character, so I would usually put him right here on B tier because he will not die, so you can make him into being a good lord that will just not die. But since the White Lions got buffed a bit, it is actually valuable to make the White Lion Doomstack if you wish, and he goes into carrying the campaign potentially. Then we do get Caradrian, and Caradrian is a really good hero, the only named hero for the High Elves, and he is quite strong. So he is basically better version of a noble. Okay, and now we are done with the named characters, and now we do have the Sea Helm. And this is your option for having a early on anti-large melee lord. And I would say that he is not that powerful, since he cannot ride on the dragon later on. I do not consider him to be that powerful. Obviously, all the Elven Lords are quite strong in melee and in what they're doing. And the Archmage, I do prefer to get normal mages, but the Archmage can be useful as well. But again, since I can have a hero and a way more powerful Lord, I will get the way more powerful Lord and a mage as a hero, because the mage lords are not considerably more powerful than the hero mages. And now we do get a prince, and prince is my favorite choice unless the princess will have better stats when I am looking to recruit a new lord. But overall, the prince, since he is super powerful in melee later on, and he can ride a dragon into battle. He is a carrying the campaign lord. And princess as well, however, she is a bit weaker in melee than the prince, but she has the range attack. And now we are into the heroes, and the first hero is a mist mage, and since you can have mist mages for capacity increased from the ports, they are actually super good. Like the Lord of Mist, especially the early Lord of Mist, is not that powerful. It has some buffs to the troops, but they are lacking offensive spells. So later on, if you recruit them and you have raised their level so you can summon the elementals, they are getting quite good. So yeah, and again, they are not consuming the capacity for normal mages, so why not have them? And then we do have the Loremaster of Hoeth, and the Loremasters of Hoeth have access to multiple colleges of magic, so they can use spells from a multitude of schools, and they are also powerful at melee. They are not as powerful at melee as a melee dedicated lords, but they can be quite strong. They can be quite strong. And the handmaidens, uh, they are also a fine addition to the elven roster. So when you are playing as elves, you kind of have to choose which heroes you want to put into the army. It's not as easy as if you're playing with dwarves. For example, when you're playing as dwarves, you usually want to have two runesmiths, a Thane, a dragon slayer, and at least two master engineers in your army. And sometimes you want more master engineers, so you are removing a dragon slayer or a Thane. But when you're playing as the High Elves, you have quite a lot of heroes that you may want to have in your army. So you are gonna be having to choose what is going to boost your army better. So for example, the Handmaidens are gonna be boosting the ranged troops better than the Noble, so you will be taking them over a Noble. But Noble is also a quite good hero that is anti-large, and he can have his niche. Now we do have the mage, and the High Elves have a access to the uh, biggest pool of magic, I believe, from all the races in the game. So they have a answer to almost any problem that you may have. So their mages are going to carry the campaign. And then we do have the Merwyrm, and it's a super large monstrous entity which is also really powerful. I mean, it can be recruited quite late into the game, and yes, it is possible to lose miserably while playing as elves, especially as Imrik or Teclis or Alifanar. Eltharion, I don't feel like I can lose a campaign of Eltharion if I am playing normally. And Merwyrm, although it's super powerful, it's a end game unit, so the Regiment of Renown is absolutely carrying the campaign, but the regular variant is not gonna be carrying the campaign because it's gonna be coming so late that you will be already either winning or you already lost. And the same thing goes for almost all the dragons. It is a super late thing, and they will have no impact on the campaign until it's either won or lost. And Regiment of Renown Phoenix, absolutely powerful. Normal Phoenix, not that powerful. And the same thing goes for the Elemental. actually place them like this. And for all the other phoenixes. Great Eagle, however, can be utilized as a different kind of cavalry. So if you want to send it over to hunt for the archers, it can be really powerful in that role, and it comes early on, it's easy to replace. So overall, it's quite alright. And the Oceanids, they are good, they are really good unit. And the White Lions of Trace. Sorry, the War Lions of Trace. I do generally don't like bestial units because for the most part they do suffer from fury, but in the case of the War Lions they do perform better than the early cavalry options, so they can go into the carrying the campaign. Don't go too hard onto recruiting them, but they will definitely perform way better than the Illyrian Reavers. And now we do have the artillery, and both artillery options, they are not super powerful, but since they are your only artillery options, they are carrying the campaign. And this one is way more powerful than the other one because it can reposition quickly. And now we are on to chariots. And this flying chariot, Skycutter, is super powerful. And I do not like the melee chariot at all. I do not like this chariot either. They are just underwhelming for me. I do not. I cannot justify any way of why would I ever recruit them because I have way better tools and I don't need special buildings to get them. And the Warlion Chariots, they are better, but again, I do not see a need to get them ever. And the Illyrian Reavers with bows. So the Regiment of Renown can be useful. The other one, it can also be powerful, but I don't really see a need to recruit them. So they are B tier for me. And then the Dragon Princes. The Dragon Princes are powerful. Could be a bit faster, to be fair. And sometimes they feel the same as the shock cavalry of the vampire counts, that they just take way more damage than they should. So they are a B tier, they can be utilized, but they are not as powerful as they should be for A tier for unit. And the Regiment of Renown is carrying the campaign, and most of the Regiments of Renown I will usually put into carrying the campaign. And there is a lot of Regiments of Renown that are not that much stronger than the regular unit, and sometimes justifying a cost of recruiting them is not really something that I can do. But if I'm in a pinch that I need a emergency army, that's when I use most of the Regiments of Renown. And now we do have Silver Helms with shields and Silver Helms without shields. So they are both gonna go to the B tier, not because they come too late, mostly because they are not that strong. And they can break the line, but the thing is, when you are playing as the High Elves, the main strength that you have is your immovable line of spears and bows. So you want to play it into those strengths, and sometimes even though that the roster has a lot of units that you can utilize to win your campaign. I mean, not even win your campaign, because for the most part you will be winning your campaign by just using Lothern Sea Guard, because Lothern Sea Guard is just so broken and so convenient to use, because you can recruit them from tier 2 and tier 3 barracks, and also you can recruit them from tier 3 ports. And yeah, I just cannot justify getting most of those units, even if I have access to them, over getting some of the units that this roster is based upon. And Illyrian Rivers, they are terrible. They are absolutely terrible. So I have ranked a super similar unit way higher on a Kislev roster, but mostly because that unit was heavily buffed by a skill tree and by the generals, while Illyrian Rivers are just underwhelming, and they are more expensive than Kosovite Dervishes. And the Sisters of Avelorn. The Sisters of Avelorn, depending on which faction we're playing, can be can be recruited super early and can be broken. And they will be broken in any faction. But if you're playing as Alarielle, you will get them a bit earlier. So yeah, they are super powerful. They have access to flaming and magical attacks. They are decent in melee, and then they can be boosted by quite a bit. Then we do have Shadow Warriors, and I do find Shadow Warriors to be a really good unit. And especially if you're playing as Alefanar. And Lothern Sea Guard. The Lothern Sea Guard is the most broken unit in the entire roster. The Lothern Sea Guard with shield is the most broken unit in the entire roster. You'll have a unit that will have 70 plus melee defense, unit that can also shoot at the enemy. So you just checkerboard them and your enemy just dies because they cannot do anything to you. They basically cannot do anything. So they will just hold the line and they will shoot them to death. The non-shielded variant is a bit weaker, but they still do get the same bonuses as the shielded one. Shielded one just has a shield. They are more powerful. They have more melee defense because of the shield, so they will perform overall better. The Regiment of Renowned Armored Archers, they can come in handy. The non-regiment version is a trap. It's a trap for your income. So don't get them. They do have a bit of extra armor and a bit of extra melee defense. But if your archers need to use the armor and to be in melee and defend themselves, that means that they are not doing their primary task, which is shooting at the enemy. So yeah, they are a unit that has absolutely no place in the roster. And the regular archers, they are carrying the campaign. And the Phoenix Guard. The Phoenix Guard is super powerful and can be recruited fairly early on. So the Regiment of Renown is carrying the campaign, and the regular one is here. And why is it here? Because I cannot justify getting them because I have Lothern Sea Guard. And then Regiment of Renown for Masters of Sword Masters of Hoeth is going to carrying the campaign, and the regular one is going into B tier. Why? Again, because I cannot justify getting them over Lothern Sea Guard. And White Lions of Trace. They are quite alright. They used to be absolutely terrible, useless unit which did nothing, costed a lot, and there was no incentive to getting them whatsoever. But right now they got reworked, so they actually dish out the damage. It was the same rework that saved the hammerers for the dwarves and the great swords for the empire. And the Regiment of Renown, obviously, it's carrying the campaign, and um, the regular one can also carry the campaign if you decide to get them with Alastar the White Lion. And Silverin Guard. Silverin Guard is a unit that you have fairly early, but I, again, cannot justify getting Silverin Guard over Lothern Sea Guard, so they go to the B tier. Rangers. Rangers are a good unit, and yeah, I know I'm saying that about a sword infantry. They are a really good unit, but they are situational. So they are good for lords like Imrik, whom early on are facing a lot of horde factions with not many large entities. So in that case, they are carrying the campaign, and if you find yourself facing a faction that has a lot of large entities, they will underperform. But if you know when to recruit them, they will carry the campaign. They are easily available, they dish out a lot of damage. And the Spearmen, the regular Spearmen, are going to carry the campaign. They are your backbone of your troops until you can replace them with Lothern Sea Guard. Whenever you can replace them with Lothern Sea Guard, please do, and Lothern Sea Guard will carry you throughout the rest of your campaign. And all the other units are just a gimmick that you basically place around your Lothern Sea Guard if you wish for that. Once you already have a stack of Lothern Sea Guard, there is basically no way of losing the campaign unless you decide to do something stupid. And the what was their name? The Ships Company? Yeah, the Ships Company. Since it's the Regiment of Renown, it can be recruited in emergency, and actually, this Regiment of Renown is performing quite well. And the regular one, I would recommend not getting them because the regular Spearmen exist. And now we do have the special units. Knights of the Torgaval are probably the strongest knightly unit in the game, with nothing coming on top of them. However, they do come into the game quite late, so they are not gonna be carrying the campaign, and they are not broken. They are super powerful, but they are not broken. The broken units are those that can utilize their low cost to get a maximum benefit. And then we have the Fight Bearers of Atul Tamara. And they are not that bad, but I do not like the melee infantry. Like, I do get Spearmen, I do get Lothern Sea Guard, and that's how I play. So I'm not going to put units that I don't enjoy into anything higher than suffering, because having a certain shield infantry makes me suffer, because I know that in certain circumstances they will make me lose, and I do not want to allow those circumstances to ever to happen. So whenever you have a speared variant of a unit, it is generally overall better to get the speared variant. Sentinels of Astrael. They can be super powerful, especially considering the fact that they do have better range than most of the Elven units, because it's 215 opposing 180 or 165, depending on which units we're talking about. And in Eltharion's army, they can be super powerful, and I have tried them a bit, and they possibly are even as strong as Sisters of Avelorn, but I never have gotten myself into a fight at which I could confirm that definitely. And after that, we do have a Skyhawks, which are a hybrid infantry, and they do have super low range and not that much ammunition, but they are quite decent in melee, so they are not a bad unit, but not the best either. And the Guard of Thor Ivres. So theoretically they are quite good, but practically they are not as potent as the Lothern Sea Guard, because they are not receiving the same bonuses. So overall, Lothern Sea Guard is gonna be performing way better than them, especially considering the fact that we have the shielded variant of the Lothern Sea Guard. And the Shadow Warriors are a super powerful stalking missile infantry, which is also decent in melee combat, which also both on missile attacks and melee attacks, they inflict poison, and overall they are super powerful and doomstackable if we are playing as the Alifanar. So yeah, this is the entire tier list, and now let's get into some advice about the game compositions. So let's say that we're playing as Tyrion, so this would be your ideal starting army. We have Tyrion, we do have a mage of some kind, then we do have 4 units of Spearmen, 2 units of Lothern Sea Guard, a unit of Silverhelms, and a Phoenix topped up with archers. And as soon as we can, we would be changing this army to be something more like this. So this is a transition that you would be doing in the first 10 turns. You would be getting all your spearmen replaced with Lothern Sea Guard, and this army is already super powerful. And later on, once we do get the access to the Lothern Sea Guard with shields, we want to start replacing those archers with the Lothern Sea Guard with shields. And we can also replace some of them as soon as we can with the artillery, if we wish to do so. But overall, the core of the High Elves gameplay is playing around the Lothern Sea Guard and utilizing them to their fullest potential, because it's one of the most overpowered and one of the best units in the game. And I'm not gonna deliberate further, because I just find Lothern Sea Guard as the ultimate solution to almost all my problems when playing as the High Elves. And if you stayed with me this long, consider subscribing for more in-depth deep dives on the roasters, and I will see you next week. See you!